to
and
the
to
and
the
to the
republic
republic
for
in
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands,
stands
one
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 nation,
nation,
nation, under
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 God,
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 indivisible,
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 with
with
liberty
liberty
liberty,
and
and
justice
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 for
for
all.
all.
for all.
Thank you very much. We're going to have an attendance. El Baker,
Present.
uh, Brian,
Present.
and now our new member, Sarah.
Present.
Good. So,
Rob's, I'm sorry, Rob's going to join us in just a few minutes. He's on a work call and he's just wrapping up.
sure.
So
Okay. So what I planned on doing tonight is not having an agenda, just to go through some introductions and see what you guys have been up to for the last 3 months that we've been on sabbatical, whatever we've been on. So I'm going to start with Sarah, and I'm going to have you introduce yourself and tell I know you've done this in front of me, but you haven't done it in front of the members. So I would like you to introduce yourself and just tell a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on this commission.
Sure. It's really good to finally be here. Let's see. I met Laura Christopher through my work, or through a colleague rather at my work. I work at the Boston Society for Architecture on Congress Street, adjacent to the seaport. And we had a symposium on spatial justice, and I was taken to Shirley Ave and introduced to Laura Christopher, and ended up one of the community events for the park that's going on over there.
Yep.
And that's where I met Elle. And, you know, my background is in art education. So I was a high school art teacher, but I also, you know, taught K through 12 really. And I am a big promoter and supporter of, you know, art in the public sector. I'm always drawn to murals and, you know, getting local artists involved in whatever we can do. I, yep. Oh, so I have a little bit of, you know, we do some grant writing, and I have a little bit of support through work on that if that's something we wanted to do. And I'm just really excited. I think, you know, listening to what's happened over the course of the last several years, I did get to meet Blake while he was in process at, with the underpass, and got to see his mural down at Clean Joe, which is unbelievable. I'm trying to keep in mind, knowing that this was coming up, you know, kindling some relationships I have with artists in the area. But I'm very intrigued by, I live right by the Rita something bridge with the panel.
Yes.
Okay, I live right by there, and I did do a drive-by of the firehouse as well. I think maybe Mayor Keefe had mentioned the firehouse to me, but I forget, I don't remember. So I'm interested to hear about those projects and where they're at. And to understand better, you know, where the lines of DCR start and Revere begin, because I know there's a lot of potential down by the beach, maybe, but maybe not. Yeah,
Thank you, Sarah. Welcome.
thanks.
I think we all should give a little history of ourselves. So Brian, I'm gonna throw it to you. To be
Welcome, welcome, Sarah. It's a pleasure to meet you. Grew up in Revere, left for about 30 years in the music industry, insurance, investment industries. Came back and recognized that there was a need to have some sort of Revere arts. Pushed on that, spoke with Joanne, eventually Brian Arrigo got into it, and we got the Revere Public Arts Commission started. As we all know, anything takes a little bit of time, and it's a process to get people to be involved with it and move on. So I started the Revere Art Community. We're now about 240 members strong. It's a nonprofit that is based down in the Shirley Ave district. And we've gotten to the point now where we're building relationships with management groups, community groups, developers, individual business, and artists that we're pushing to get a designation in the city of Revere. And I've processed it all the way up to where we're talking with the city planner, Elle's boss, about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. That's going to be supported by the Revere Art Community, the Neighborhood Association, Santa, some developers, and we're always looking for people to help and assist and working towards that, because all it's going to do is eventually when we get the designation and a space for arts and cultural in the Shirley Ave district, we'll be able to take and apply for Massachusetts designation of an arts and cultural district along Shirley Ave. And that provides a lot of positive things, from anywhere from the arts that it's going to help to the economic development that can be occurred and marketed through that designation in that district. So with that, a lot of my focus has been on that. But on the art side, I've been doing a bunch of crazy stuff. I'm involved in a group right now, Joanne, that's in Cologne, Germany. And I'm doing virtual, interactive, immersive art pieces that are abstract, that you go in with a viewer and you go through these things. It's pretty crazy looking. So hopefully in the next pop-up show we're going to do down on Shirley Ave, and I'm hoping it'll be at the end of March, beginning of April, we're going to take and film some of that stuff and show it on the walls, the glass walls from different businesses down there, like we've done with the Revere Art. And I'm working right now, and any input on this would be helpful from anybody, is I'm going to do an art project with the Revere Historical Society. We're going to project onto the glass from their windows from the building. That's sort of the stuff I've been doing. Can't hear you.
How does that work, Brian? So on the
Thank you.
glass, in what particular, like particular storefronts? And
Right.
is
What
it
I've
just-
done is
it
I've
like
done-
neon light? Is it an image that's just projected onto the glass? How does that work?
I have material that I can place on a window that it can be projected on from the interior, and it'll be seen on the interior side, but it'll also be seen outside. I'm a member of the Fort Point Art Community, and I've curated and done about 10 shows down there at the gallery at, do you know where the Barking Crab is? Right across from that is the Seaport Hotel. Anyone younger, the bar up on the roof, they'll know what that is. We're not allowed there, Joey. You can visit during tourist hours. All right, but we've projected, and the last real big show I did there was 125 street photographers from the greater Boston area, 1,800 images, and it took an hour and 18 minutes at 5 seconds of flash to watch a sequence go through of all the images that were in it. So when you walked by, it was a 30-foot stretch of wall, 10-foot high, and it was all images on it. So it looked like a jewel box from like the Seaport Bridge when you're across. Now we can do that, and I've done that down on Shirley Ave. So what's his name? Has the chiropractor. He's got 2 perfect windows right across from Balcos, the restaurant. So we're going to cover those up and shoot on those images. But we can do the same thing at the Revere Historical Society. So I'm looking to get access to some historical imagery, because I want it to basically be Revere based, even if it's just about us rather than the artists. It's just pictures of Revere folks. That's okay. It's the first time we're introducing it. People get a concept of what that could be about.
I think that's a wonderful idea, Revere folks. And I just want to say that I was one of the participants with my photography in one of Brian's shows at the 4 Points in Boston. And it was
Oh, that was a fun time, yeah.
that was the first one, and it was marvelous because it was a summer day and people were waiting to get into the Barking Crab, and they were outside and they could see the images from the outside too. So they're reflected on the inside, but they also go on to the outside too. So it was wonderful. I was really very happy that he asked me to be a part of that. And I hope in the future I will have the time to put some of my photographs, my new photographs in, and I could be a part of your shows.
Well, everyone is welcome, and you are always welcome.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Any more specific questions? Material can be anything from, that can be really clear, that, you know, with a squeegee type thing you put on if it's going to be permanent, or it can be, I've got a stuff that's like, imagine, like a rubberized sheet, but thinner, and it's designed to be projected on. And then there's some that are clear that you can put up that and there were ones that'll raise up and down. So there's a whole myriad of those type of products out there. But I've discovered that I bought a big long roll of it, cut it in window size stuff, so I could turn it sideways or turn it, portrait ways up and down and fill the space with it. Because we did a show down at Sandler where we had acoustics in the square rather than art on the Ave, and we had guitar players play acoustic, and we had 4 spots where, Ground Chicken, Capri, the Revere Business Society office, whatever it's called, forgive me, and Chocolate, and we projected on all those. I could have put a screen up in the thing, but I figured let's let the acoustic people have their space for that. And that one, well, we'd like to try to continue to do those and different events like that. So we're looking to build a base. It happens to be Shirley Ave because it's where I live, but it's the best place to have things happening where artists can perform, artists can create, and people that are new and are like, maybe I could come try. No one's going to judge you, and you get a chance to do it.
Great.
So those things I've been doing. Any other questions on that, El?
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Who are we missing?
Elle, do you want to talk a little bit about yourself? Can you hear me?
I can. I don't, but yeah, I will.
You don't have to. You don't
No,
have to.
I'm kidding. So I've
me to
been
tell
working
you?
for this.
About yourself?
I've been working for the city for 10 years. I started out as neighborhood organizer and basically working with residents to figure out ways that we could improve their neighborhood and their area, their space, their open space, their living area, activities that they were interested in. And that sort of, I really liked it. It was sort of a total career change for me. So I stayed with the city and I went back to school and got my master's in community development. And then I moved up to the community development department and I've been there ever since. So I at one point I was doing a lot of the park renovations throughout the city and also wanting to see how we could improve the underpasses. So this is something that's like still like from day one, still trying to get these underpasses improved. One, they're dark. Two, they're completely unappealing. They're a blank canvas for beautiful artwork, and we're still just trying to hitch on to the wagon and get them done. So at this point, I want to say, I can't remember what year we did Sargent Street, but we were able to contract with a local artist. She lives in Saugus. She's also been very involved with the Sand Sculpting Festival, Deb Catulli, and she started doing this project for us, and she painted all of the historic. I was also working with Riviera Society for Historical and Cultural Preservation. So when we had the neighborhood groups, I started this thing, 5 Fun Facts. So when we would have a neighborhood group, we'd do 5 fun facts about the history of your neighborhood. So people that had just moved there, no idea what was like 100 years ago. And then also folks that have been there forever were able to sort of open up and share their stories. And it was sort of a great way to kind of bridge the gap and to learn more about the spaces that people were living in. So I did that with Bill Reedy, I don't know, many years ago. And so that kind of morphed into, well, we wanted to improve the space in the underpass on Sargent Street. So we were able to secure funding for that. And we contracted with Deb Catulli, who was also an artist that participated in many of the sand sculpting festivals. So she went to the Revere History Museum and she looked through not all, but many of the photographs that we had of Old West Revere. And she basically took a compilation of all of the historic elements and put them onto these MDO boards, which she was literally painting in her living room and bringing one at a time and then with 2 at a time and then bringing them back. And we were able to hang those up under the Mass DOT owned bridge. Now I think it needs, I drove by it earlier today, ironically, but it needs some love, like the extra space that's around it, because these are MDO boards that are planted, secured onto the concrete underpass. And around it, we've painted it a few times, but it sort of frames the artwork. So I'd like to kind of put that forward as sort of an initiative as soon as the spring hits, that we can get out and paint that. Oftentimes, I've also been involved in the graffiti wipeout. So there's many areas in the city that have been plagued with graffiti, and the rollers and things like that. And then just planning a Saturday or a couple Saturdays and going out and just painting over the graffiti. But oftentimes that just invites more, because then we get a blank canvas for more graffiti, but it doesn't always happen. I mean, if we stay on top of it. And there's been a lot of people in the community that have been, they drive around with a can of paint in their trunk just to, make sure if they see the graffiti to get it off within 3 days. So we had a pretty substantial working group at one point, which has sort of dwindled over time. But I'm really still passionate about getting all the underpasses improved in one way, shape, or form, whether that be with a mural, or if someone has another idea, or if we can do creative lighting. I've gone through the process years ago of having pricing for all of the underpasses to be lit up in a creative way. Some of the lighting would be just to display the work that we'd be doing there, for example, in Sargent Street. But unfortunately, having the funding to be able to move those projects forward hasn't been as forthcoming. And also, it's a challenge getting the permits through Mass DOT in order to do the work in the underpass. So we have Sargent Street, we have the work done. We have the work done at the Northern Strand Trail. That was just recently completed, that you're aware of. The Route 1A underpass, that's been completed this past year. So if you recall the Rita Singer Bridge, when you go underneath it, it has these perfectly framed inlets, like inlets that are painted
Silhouettes.
black. So they are actually painted black to be the frame for the work that we've already had printed and produced. We are waiting for the Mass DOT permit, which has taken years. And right now, thanks to Joanne, she's been working with Mass DOT to help along the permitting process. So in the midst of this, they changed their whole permitting. They ended up getting a platform, then they ended up changing, then we were right on the verge of it, and then somebody retired. So we've just had sort of a lot of stops and starts with this. But at the end of the day, we have the work to hang. It's been completed. We're just waiting for the permit, which I feel like I can't even say this one more time. It's been taking way too long.
4
But-
years.
Yeah, but thanks to Joanne, it's
It's moving,
It's
but it's not moving fast enough.
Yeah, so we're at a standstill right now. We're waiting for the DPW engineering department to make an update on final comments from Mass DOT on the traffic plan for the installation. So I'm still waiting for that document. So when we have that, we can resubmit that, and Joanne will be involved in that final round of requesting permission. So
You've been
It's-
busy.
it's there. It's not something I'm working on every day, so but
Why don't you talk about the electrical boxes that you?
yeah. So we also did a project, we did 2 rounds of, what did we call that? Switch boxes. The artwork theme is then and now. So one side is current day Revere Beach, and the other side is then. So it's historic Revere Beach, and those photographs were obtained from Revere Society of Historical Cultural Preservation, to answer your question. And
The
the switch-
challenge, Al, is that the then ones and the now ones are like sort of then. It's been so long.
I mean, they're pretty current, though. I mean, it's still like the Kite Festival, the Sand Sculpting Festival. I mean, they are all present day things as opposed to
Mhm.
things 100 years ago.
Yeah.
They're, so, and we did get a grant in order to print all those out. And the switch boxes, that was another project. So if you'll notice throughout the city, some switch boxes are painted. We did an initiative to do 10, and then we did another 10. So we have a lot of local artists participated in that. Actually, Council McKenna's nephew is a wonderful artist, and he painted all the ones that are super detailed and beautiful and historic.
Revere Beach,
He
yeah.
did a lot of those ones. He did one right in Beachmont at the Beachmont School. It actually looks like a monument, but it's actually a switch
Beautiful.
box. It's
Yeah, it
beautiful.
really is beautiful.
He did some amazing work. So we have had an interest. There's been a couple people randomly in the past maybe 4 months that have reached out and said, "Oh, we're running a program for that." So that might be something we might want to look to fund again. And then I just created like a small committee. We had 4 people that would review the artwork. Pretty standard. It had to be original artwork, nothing that was commercial or that would require copyright, anything like that. Obviously nothing offensive. And yeah, we got some great turnout for that. It was actually a really fun project.
So I just want to say that my nephew redid the one down in Beachmont Square underneath the train station because they had graffitied it, and he thought it was he made it really bright. It just says Beachmont on it. But what he did was, and I thought this was kind of cool, he put who knows, he put all the people in Beachmont or Revere, I don't know, that have passed. He put their names on them. So I think it's just Beachmont people, but he put their names on it. So if you get down there and look, you'll see the names written on the switch box.
Mhm.
And I ended up funding it because he wanted to do it so badly, and the program was over. So so that's it. So yeah, just go down and see it. It's like a baby blue and white. That's all it is, 2 colors. So
Yeah, that looks great.
His work is
great.
highly distinctive.
yeah, he's great. He's currently going to Mass College of Art, so my alma mater. So he's taken over where I left off.
Well, I'm grateful for everything he's done. He's done some real great
and
work throughout the city.
I'm sure he's waiting for something to open up. So whatever it is.
The other thing we did was we did the little libraries. So we had little libraries in every neighborhood, and we did an event. So I think we launched 17 at the same time. So we had people come in and we did like a sketch night, and then we did a paint night, and then we did like a second paint night because it wasn't finished. So everyone painted the little libraries that would be placed in their neighborhood or local park. And yeah, so that was a fun project too. Now we're going through the round of, they've been out in the weather for a number of years, so a lot of them we're replacing. And just because of, unfortunately, we're not replacing them with wood structures again. We're using like the more durable resin structures just because the maintenance has turned into sort of a lot of maintenance. The windows were getting broken, the doors weren't closing, they were rotting a little bit. So as we're replacing them, unfortunately, they're less of an art installation, but it still does give access to free books. And we have a number of stewards throughout the city that refill them to make sure that there's always books available. Some of them are closed right now because of the winter season. We usually close for a couple months. They get wrapped up and then they reopen around March.
One thing I have to say about the little libraries, it's really nice. I mean, there has been just minimal vandalism, but usually everybody just loves them, and there's no one's really knocked them off. They've been secured pretty much, and the kids haven't touched them. They haven't been graffitied, they haven't been written on, they haven't been anything. So I know a couple of the glass is broken in a couple of them, and so on, but I figured the kids would destroy them, and they haven't. They respect them. So that's really good. And I just want to touch on another point. I made a motion in December for you, Elle, to put lighting on every single underpass in Beachmont. not Beachmont, in Revere. So, hopefully, they heard me. And what the mayor's doing now, which hasn't been done in a long time, is when you put a motion in, he'll get back to you and say it's approved or it's not approved for this reason. And I haven't seen anything come back to me, but I'll ask him. I think it was approved that they were gonna go ask DCR and Mass DOT wherever, you know, the underpasses were, that they were gonna put lighting under there. So hopefully that will be done. I mean, and I hope we can get those murals up for the Rita Singer Bridge this summer at some point.
Yeah.
So
Could
do you want
we-
me to, go ahead, what?
Could we
Brian?
circle back to the Northern Strand Bike Trail for a minute?
Sure.
We should do an event there. We should celebrate this success. The thing is gorgeous. He did a great job on it. I've heard a lot of positive things about it. You know, when it
I
gets
just-
warm, do something.
I just want to say, and just to give him a shout out, David Pazziali, sorry, not David, Anthony Pazziali, someone wrote on it. And because we have that material, that the anti graffiti material, he went out and washed all the graffiti off of it.
Thank you.
Yes, so I give a shout out to Anthony Pazziali for doing that. It was really nice of him. And I think I told you, Al, right? I should've-
Yeah, that was incredible that he went out and took care
Yeah,
of
he
that.
went out and did it himself. So he works for the DPW in Malden or Everett or something. He had the material to get the graffiti off. So kudos to him. I'm just going to introduce myself just basically, just so Sarah will know, because Sarah and I have, we have the same kind of background. I was a K through 8 teacher for 8 years at Revere, and then they pushed me up to high school to teach photography. So I was in the Revere Public Schools for 33 years, teaching art and photography. And then retired in 2015 and ran for Ward 1 counselor, and I've been a Ward 1 counselor ever since. So, and it's been wonderful. It's just my whole career has been wonderful, but this public arts, it's been tough getting it off the ground, but slowly but surely we're doing little things here and there and here and there. And as you heard Brian and Elle, I mean, they're really working hard to, you know, get this off the ground. So, and I think it is getting off the ground. I know for the first couple of years, we were kind of like, okay, you know, but now everything's starting to come to fruition. So just stick with it, Sarah, and we can use your expertise and your knowledge and whatever you have that you can give to this commission. So that's what I have. I haven't really done anything. Elle and I have put, Elle is the best. I just have to say she's the best. Thank you, God. I don't even want to leave the council because she's done so much for me just to get things off the ground. I've had ideas and she's brought them into reality. So, and I could go and tell you what we've done together, but I'll just tell you what we've done that's art oriented. We got a bidder to do the roof of the Beachmont fire station. So, and that's not going to be the Beachmont Art Community Center. It's going to be the Revere Community Center. So we have to start calling that so it sticks. And I also asked the mayor if he could do the frontage of the facade of the front of the building because it's in deplorable shape. I mean, it needs a coat of paint, and it needs some structural work. And he said yes. So we'll see what happens with that. I just wanted to tell you, Elle, that communication for the $75,000 coming up this meeting. So we should have that.
I received an email from Rich
Okay,
today, and I've already responded to him to respond to all his questions. So
Okay.
I just said, let me know if he has any other questions. I sent it pretty much right before I left the office today. So I'll circle back with him tomorrow to make sure he doesn't need anything in addition, but should be good to go.
so I just want to just end this, but I just wanted to tell Brian that, Brian, I got Robin Neeson. Remember Robert Neeson?
Yes,
Yes, well, he's into music and I got him connected to the historical Toby Pearlstein. Is it Pearlstein?
Yes,
And they're coming up with, they're gonna have a section in the historical building of music.
oh,
And
cool,
all the people in Revere, like Vernon West and all those guys,
awesome.
they're gonna have a historical venue of all the Revere rock stars, singers.
There were a few of them in their day, that's for
Oh, I
sure.
know. I mean, West.
What's
they
his name
should've-
that just
Yes,
passed?
yes, they should have been on the radio. They should have. I mean, they were so good.
That all
But-
had to do with the cars and all that and the promoter that was at that label at the time.
But anyways, I just wanted you to know that. So maybe if you have some historical, history, you have history, you were in the music business for what, 30 years?
Yeah,
You can contact Toby Pearlstein and see what you can do. Put some stuff in there so you can be a part of that historical center.
we can give it that a shot. Thank you.
You're
that'd be
welcome.
great.
Again, let's do something, set a date for celebrating the Northern Strand. Let's celebrate a victory we had. Can we do that by the next meeting?
Yes, let's
Sure,
do that.
yeah,
for
so
sure.
we're gonna, how are we gonna continue these meetings? So we're gonna meet every 3 months? That's, I mean, we
They'll
don't,
bring us to March. We can meet again third week in March.
okay, March is good. So let's set a date now, March, do you have a calendar?
That's
Do we
2
want to,
months.
do we want to start, who wants to work on this event? So then when we regroup, we can we'll already have a plan and we'll basically be reporting out.
Could I interrupt just, the
Sure,
open meeting law? I read the packet, I did all the things, and there seemed to have been a moment in time, maybe when it was first introduced, that it was creating more problems than solutions in this meeting. So there's mention of like Google Docs, and now we're talking about the celebrating of the Northern Strand. So I just want to make sure, besides watching the YouTube archives, I really am coming into this not knowing much, and I would like to know as much as possible.
Sure.
I don't know if there are some resources at Revere City Hall I could kind of go in person and open a big binder.
not really, we're the first to do this, so,
Alright.
I mean, everything is new. It's new for us too, although we've been meeting since 2021. It took us a really long time to get off the ground. We're just starting to get off the ground now, but there's never been a commission before this, so this is brand new. So there's really nothing you can go and look at, years ago, because it never existed. So you're a part of a new,
Yeah, I wrote the ordinance with Ashley based on like, how do we get more things done? Should we have some sort of commission? And I worked with Bob Mara was a big part of that back in the previous administration. And, it took a while to get it off the ground. I think we had a draft for about a year and a half or two before we were able to even get a commission. And then we had a commission and then we weren't quite sure how we could get things done or get funding. So I feel like all of that buildup, I think that we've really got more done in the past year than we did previously in all the years prior. So I'm excited to
But
have
we
you on
also-
board and have, fresh ideas and, different, new energy and maybe different experiences, lived experiences, way to get things done. But I think, so what we've done, we decided instead of meeting every month was sort of we weren't really getting very far. So what we decided to do instead was to just create these subcommittees, but we've since had some people leave, so that's, slowing down a bit again, but we would just kind of regroup every 3 months and then would have working groups. So as long as you don't have a quorum, we can still have working groups, sort of subcommittees, if you will, that would go off and like kind of get these projects underway. So Rob and I worked on the Northern Strand Trail. And, we had many check-in points working with Blake and going forward, getting the funding, getting everything sorted out. So we're able to kind of get that on the wall. Same thing, Rob and I worked on the route pass, so we got that kind of out the door. Been working with Joanne to try to get this bridge done. She's been great with having contacts there and having them revisit it and kind of open it back up again. So we've kind of had some more success with that. And Brian's been working with the Shirley Ave group and doing some of the art installations there. So that's been successful. And then we regroup here to kind of bounce more ideas and see what we can put some wheels on to bring to fruition. So feel free to reach out, if you want to reach out to me, if you have some ideas, and, if we want to call another meeting, bring the whole group together, we can certainly do that. We're not limited to meeting only once a quarter, but we just found that it was, I don't know, perhaps more productive.
Repeating. It was repetitious.
Yeah.
Every meeting, it was kind of the same thing over and over again. So, and I do think that meeting every 3 months, we have a lot more to talk about instead of the same old 7 things that we have on the agenda.
And we get traction in between time when we're able to take and do what we need to do. The biggest challenge do we have, Sarah, is people committing to assisting after we're done with the meeting, what we need to do. Whereas Elle worked with Rob, so I personally think we need more people on the board.
Oh, we definitely.
So that it raises the quorum number so that more people can meet under that number to be able to do actual stuff.
Right.
It's as simple as that. So I've put 3 people's names into the city already through the process to add to the board. And if the mayor needs to change it, we need to change it. The cultural council's got 19. Let's get as many as we can, get the number raised and get people underneath to do stuff where the real mechanics of what goes on happens.
I think we have a quota of 11. Is that true?
We can raise it.
It's 9 or 11, but what we should do is just at least get those seats filled to start with.
Right. And
Sarah,
then it changes.
thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Well,
And if we need to push a little bit on that Northern Strand get together day, get Revere TV. I'll contact my friends with Jared Bowden. All right. We could talk about that. We could get what's his name, Blake from California on a Zoom thing to talk on it. And we've created a little bit of a buzz and a history about ourselves that shows that we're doing stuff. We should be doing that with all the victories that we gain and the things that happen in our city. Every time it's a political thing, the Journal's right there to take pictures of it. Why isn't it doing that with us? And again, I'm going to ask very politely and nicely, Elle, I want to get access for us to that screen on top of the Wonderland T, where we've got 30% of the time on that thing. We should be programming our messages and programming our images up and down that highway every time we can.
Is there also a social media? I found an Instagram page that I'm not sure is active or.
It's very we have not done a lot of things. How I think of it was before we started, we made a bumper sticker this big. After we started, we got 2 murals up, we got projects going. So it's a whole different world than what we were.
and the other thing is we had a setback because we had this building that we thought we could do a gigantic mural on. And we had all these artists submit their artwork, and then we had a vote, and we selected 3, and then we selected 1. And then when it came to time to do the mural, it was owned by, I think, is it DCR or National Grid?
MBTA. was the MBTA
MBTA,
building,
and they
we
wouldn't let us paint on it. So it just, it died. You know what I'm saying? Which we should have gotten permission in the beginning, but we just figured that it was a city-owned building and then we could do whatever we wanted to it. And then we found out, no, it wasn't. And they didn't
So-
want anything on it.
So we did know ahead of time and we did write to MBTA. It just took them so long to get back to us that,
Oh, is that what it is?
yeah.
Okay.
We knew it was
Wasn't it a
MBTA,
mandatory 90 days before they respond? Or some
Yeah,
crazy
it
rule
was
like that?
was
something like
crazy,
that.
but we did all this work and it just, and we had these beautiful, gorgeous ideas of these artists. They were beautiful. And you know, it just fell. It
And then we
fell.
tried to find another location to put them, but there just was nothing really suitable.
Yeah.
Tried to do it at the Wonderland Ballroom, reached out to the owner. They weren't interested. They didn't want to deal with the maintenance of it, or, you know, if any was put up, it gets graffiti, they didn't want to deal with that. So, so that was a no-go. And then we just couldn't really find another place. We drove around, we took pictures, we reached out to people. We were like, can we put this on
Crazy.
your building? I mean, we really tried. Everyone put their heads together to come up with locations, but we just couldn't find another suitable location. And it was such a cool picture. It was like a wormhole into, it was 3D. It was like you were stepping through it into the beach. And on the other side was the clock, you know, where the clock is at the end of the Marquee Bridge.
It was
So it was amazing. And it was actually Blake Whitaker's, which is why we selected him to do the work on the Northern Strand Trail, because he had been selected by the community as an artist. But then unfortunately we couldn't bring that project to fruition for permitting purposes, but
We did with the Strand, so let's
we
promote that
did,
thing.
yeah. But the
Yes,
thing-
we got one. We planted the flag for a fine art piece in an
Yes.
exterior place. It's unique, it's unusual. Yes, his one up the road is nice, but that looks very community-based art. This is a piece of art that you walk through and it's like, what is this? And it's lit up. I've got pictures of people pulling their cars down there. I've already talking to Mr. D'Agenzio about this, where they're coming down and taking pictures of their car inside of that space at night. And that's not a public, I mean, that's not a road to drive on,
No, it's
but
not.
people are doing that.
Yeah.
It's a very cool thing. So we should pick a date when it's warm and promote it. Plain and simple. This is what we're about, and we'll get some local press. We'll get what's his name from BZ to come down and do his little 2-minute little piece about it, and we'll get the TV and all that. And Sarah, if you go onto Facebook, I know it's an older platform, but this is where we reach people, and find the Revere Art Community. You want to join that. All right. I noticed you sunk in today there, Elle. on
Yeah,
that
so
page.
I'm asking, is there a way to make that public that you don't have to sign up to see what's on it, that it can just be visible? Because it
Uh,
seems less accessible that way.
well,
Because some
the
people don't
challenge-
want, some people won't ask to be a member of something because they don't want to do that. So I
Yeah.
was just curious about that.
They've have Facebook is set up, they're sort of locked when they first began. I can go through a process, but I've learned with other groups is having completely open, you get a lot of stuff and you're gonna do maintenance on it, taking stuff out that doesn't belong or is submitted and that sort of
That's
stuff.
true. That's true.
There's a lot of that. Whereas when I ask, if I see someone press the numbers DWS233 as an answer, I know they want to go push their car cleaning or their, ventilation cleaning systems onto the page. So it eliminates a lot of that. But I can look into it, but for maintenance and being the person behind the scene to clean it up, it's a lot easier not to have that. And it tends to be the people that are in it work with it, and they just push it onto other social media pages, and people see it and will reach over and join, especially with the Lifestyle, the City of Revere page, where they do all sorts of stuff on that,
Okay, well.
Well, I'll push for that for our next meeting, so that in March we can say, this is what we can do, this is the social media, this is the real life media, TV, radio type stuff that we got that can do it, and just get the City of Revere, get the Revere Journal, do a piece on it, and we can ask, what do you call it? The Advocate. They're always good for coming and doing something. Then we got a little hype for ourselves, and it helps to show us as being more than just, it.
A Zoom meeting. All right, so I'm gonna say March 18th will be our next meeting. I mean, I'm gonna be running a campaign, so I don't know what kind of time I'm gonna have, but I will, if there's someone else that will join me, I will try to put something together. I think there should be at least 3 people to help me.
I'll join whatever moving forward.
What is it you want help with, Joanne?
To organize a celebration for the Northern Strand.
Oh, I just said that I would help with that.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Okay, so you wanted the 3 of us to do it?
sure.
Okay, so Sarah, you'll have to send me your send me your telephone number, and I can we can meet for coffee or something. I just have to go around my schedule. So we can meet at Liberto's, Toretta's, or wherever. Brian, is that all right with you?
Yeah, or Shirley Ave area.
Oh,
anywhere
Shirley,
down.
yeah, whatever. Okay,
Then
that's
when we're all done with it, we give it to Elle to do the work. This is,
she's got enough work, especially from me. But anyways, all right, so we'll say March 18th, and then Sarah and Brian, I have your phone number. We'll get together maybe in the next, well, I shouldn't say this, but I'll be back. I'm going to Florida, so I'll be back the 17th of, I'm going for a week, so I'll be back the 17th of February. So maybe after that, and have some plans done before March 18th.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
Sounds good?
absolutely.
And we could talk about it on March 18th.
And
Mhm.
Sarah,
Alright.
if you have any other like thoughts or ideas that you want to like send my way,
Okay, cool.
anything you're thinking you want to, anything, thoughts, ideas, things we
All right.
can try to move forward, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Quick question, Joanne, are there
Yeah.
any businesses? I'm not familiar with Northwest Revere, West Revere at all. So are there any business associations, anything like that up there?
Not that I know of, no.
Nothing we can tap in and say, hey, how about
There was when Ricky Serena
sponsoring a little
was-
something?
when Ricky Serena was in office, he had a community, it was a community,
Mhm.
whatever.
There's a North Revere neighborhood group.
Oh, okay, a group.
Yeah, it hasn't really been meeting consistently for quite some time, but if we could try to bring it back together.
Now, isn't it up where like that Easy Pie Pizza is in all those places?
Yes.
Yeah, we want someone to help sponsor a little bit of this. So we need to reach out.
Easy Pie might be interested. Or anyone in that plaza, there's the Harley Davidson is there. Easy Pie.
That would be a
Yes,
great
yeah.
thing. They bring a couple of bikes, vroom. It'd be a fun thing. Kids look at the motorcycles. The more we can put together to market this, the better it is.
What else is in that area? Linden Block, but I think that's on the Malden line.
That's it.
No, I mean, there's still like West
Oh,
Revere's,
Nick's.
there's the bridge, bridge. Is it Three Bridges? What's it called? The roast beef place? Not the new bridge. It's across from the gas station, right where the new condos are. And then there's all the pizza places that are right there in Washington Ave.
And
There's a
Nick's
pizza
too.
place, a hot dog place. There's
Yeah.
a few different things there.
Yep.
And then, I mean, there's the Chamber of Commerce could reach out.
Oh,
That
that's,
may be a very helpful thing to help
I
find
think
those.
so too. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Right.
Because we're making it for the community, but the community come and participate in the celebration of it.
Great.
So if you were to have a celebration, is it like on a Saturday afternoon? What's typical?
I would say that, yeah, definitely. People work unless it's unless it's a holiday weekend, but people go away anyway, so I would say Saturday, definitely.
Yeah, early, midday
Yeah.
to, early afternoon type thing where
9
it's
to
sunny.
12 or 10 to 12 or whatever it's gonna be, whatever.
Yeah, simple thing.
All right, so you guys reach out to me and then I'll make a plan. I'll look at my schedule and then we can make a date and then we can get something together and then at March 18th, we'll submit it to the council, the members and
Great.
talk about it.
And
Okay,
I'm just gonna reply in the email chain to all and put my cell phone number. It's for everyone, okay?
yes,
My wheels are turning. Thank you so much.
okay.
And Sarah, one last question. What type of art do you create?
So I was a teacher. I know how to do every medium under the sun. And are you Brian?
Right, I'm
Is that-
Brian.
Yes.
Okay.
Mix is a long
Um,
story.
Yeah. So I mean, from earthenware, clay to painting to you name it, I can do it.
Oh, you
My
work
dad
many
used to say,
mediums. Oh,
Yep.
Well, as a
Mhm.
teacher, as an art teacher, Brian, you have to go through every single medium that they, you know,
mhm.
so you can teach the kids everything. So like as an art teacher, I didn't know what I was teaching. Every year it was different. It was clay, it was ceramics, it was calligraphy, it was, painting, it was drawing, it was portfolio. So you really have to have a wide range of knowledge in the arts to be a teacher,
Yep,
to
for a teacher, yes.
so yeah, so like her, I can do, like Sarah, I can do all that stuff too, because that's
And-
what we had to do. I don't know where you went to school, but Mass College of Art, you had to take everything. You had
Yep,
take
I went to
architecture,
UVM,
Where?
UVM.
University of Vermont, which had a great art program when I went. I
Yes.
don't know if what it is now. But to be able to just have access to all the materials and mediums and printing presses and kilns is like you get to be a better artist than, let's say, Joe Schmo that's just working out of his apartment. You have that access, and that's really priceless.
So what art do you create now?
I would say I'm not really a practicing artist right now. Life takes
Uh-oh.
over. I
Is that
know.
allowed, Elle? Is that allowed?
We
gotta
can
see some
change
art.
that.
You
I
gotta
know.
come be part of the Revere art community and
Okay.
show your art.
Deal. I
Good.
think I've liked all the Facebook pages and they answered the questions.
Hey, it's not that bad. If you can't answer yeah or no and give someone 4 answers about what you're about, then you don't want to be part of this. It's that simple. It really is. And it protects from being crazy people attacking the page and stuff. That's how I look at it. But I'm real glad you're here. Hopefully we'll have more people, Joanne. There's a couple of people coming through. I know I tried to get Lark Logan, but Linda stole her for the Cultural Council. Do you remember Lark from Kiss Radio?
No.
Back in the 80s?
No.
Oh, I know you know your music. You
Yes.
do. Yeah, you definitely listen to her, but she's going to the council. But I've got a couple of other people that have applied, and I've got one other people that may apply. And the more we get, I think the better it is.
That sounds
Plain
good,
and
'cause
simple.
I'm the commission, I'm the appointment commissioner. So I'll say yes to everybody that's on the arts. So, all right.
Uh,
I'm gonna end it here at 7 o'clock and I'm gonna say thank you. Welcome,
meeting.
Sarah. And it was a great meeting. I like the talk. And not the agenda. So reach out to me. March 18th is our next meeting, and this concludes the Revere Public Arts Commission. Thank you for all joining us tonight, and thank you guys for coming on and participating.
Good
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Have a great
Bye,
night.
Bye, Katie.